I made my first million at 30. Obviously, it was not an easy task. But if I'm going to follow the steps I'm going to be outlining in this video, I will probably will arrive at that a lot sooner. So here are the 5 key lessons I have learned over the years that if I apply, I'll probably make my million very early. My name is Namdi and welcome to my channel. So one interesting thing you need to know about me is that I grew up in more like a subsistence family. I have both parents who are teachers working in secondary school. But one thing it's really interesting about my father and my mom. My dad was a teacher, but he never really wanted me to be a teacher. He wanted me to be a medical doctor. And obviously, anytime there was a holiday, because in my father's side, there are more teachers. On my mother's side, they were more into business. So I would rather spend my holiday with my mother's brother, who is my uncle. And I will follow him up to his cosmetic shops, engage with his customers, and understand a little bit about how businesses it's being run. And obviously, that reshaped me. And my dad was particularly interested that I got admitted to study medicine so that when I graduate, he will be able to vacate his parlor for me to be able to practice. So fast forward, I graduated as a physiotherapist, and the first thing that came to mind was, how do I start building my business? So in his mind, the garage style, the famous starting your business out of a garage by well-known entrepreneurs, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos, and even the owner of Facebook. So it was really an interesting thing for him that his dream and vision for me to actually start a business after graduating was really actualized, and I'm really very grateful. So number one lesson is set clear goals. Goal setting is very important in anything you want to do, and for me it was all about, after graduating, how do I start a business? So it was really very clear for me from the outset, and everything that I was doing was always geared towards creating an income stream that when I will be sleeping, then I will be making more money. Sounds like what everybody wants to do. And starting a business, even though with many people, it's not really an easy task, but there are different ways and approach you can go about it to actually make it a lot easier. Entrepreneurship will provide the more like the much needed launch pad for you to succeed financially. And one thing that has got me started towards my journey of achieving this financial freedom was actually starting my own business. And how I've been able to do it is through reading books, because I wanted to be able to sleep while I made money. So one book that I will recommend for a lot of starters that actually helped me build the initial foundation of my business is E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. When Michael Gerber released his best-selling book, The E-Myth Revisited, he wanted to talk about why many people who start business ultimately fail. And in his deeply relatable description, he talked about the misconception about starting a business and how people end up doing it the wrong way, and which leads to a lot of frustrations and people not achieving the level of financial success that they were looking for. He described a lady, Sarah, who was a baker, and her intention was, how does she build a business to keep up with her pie shop? And at the end of the day, because she was not building the business in the right way, it was very difficult for her to grow. There is an aspect where you are not to be trapped in your entrepreneurship seizure, where you just feel like, I just want to go and start doing my business, and getting into a fatal assumption that business is because I have the skill, and you forget about other very important components of running a business, then you ultimately will fail and not achieve the much needed financial success that you have actually been aspiring to do. Number two lesson is, how I wish someone had told me this early on when I started. I wouldn't have gotten myself into some bad financial decisions that had led me into investing my money in get rich quick schemes, like different Ponzi schemes that were available as at then. And I want you people to really know that there is really no get rich quick business out there. Every business is well structured. I can remember investing my money, and the reason why this is happening is because a lot of us do not really have good knowledge about money and finance because we are not always being taught that in school. But at this point, my quest for wanting to get better led me into investing my resources into understanding personal finances, personal incomes, different investment strategies, and where I will be able to invest my money and ultimately build wealth. How many people lost money like me in MMM? I lost quite a lot of money, but I'm quite grateful that I did that earlier on in my life, and that really gave me that coverage, gave me that understanding that if I'm going to succeed in life and in business, obviously it's not going to be a Ponzi scheme that will catapult me to my success. Lesson number 3 is take action. It's important to know that building financial success usually takes time. It's actually a gradual, dedicated, painstaking and resilient process. So to become successful in anything that you need to do, you need to understand that this is a time for continuous learning and being able to adapt to changes that will guide you through your entire process and journey. And it's important to know that being able to build a business requires you determining the appropriate course of action that you need to take and what it is that you intend to do. So let's talk about starting a business. A lot of us, when we go to school, the ultimate advice is graduate, get a job, then you will be financially free after 60 or 70 years when you retire. That is if you have an adequate amount of money saved. But in this day and age where we are all living from paycheck to paycheck, we are going to have retirement problem. So now, where does this concept actually come from? The concept actually came during the Industrial Revolution, whereby we are to go to school and we graduate to fit into the already existing infrastructures. So you have to go to school, pass with good grades, then train yourself in the required skill that is necessary to fit into that industry that is already being existed, sometimes being run by government or by uneducated people who have toiled for years to build this structure from the scratch, then allow you the opportunity to come and learn. Then after a while, when you retire, then you are paid your severance benefits for pensions that can easily barely go by today. So it's important that you know this. And there are 3 types of businesses that you will be able to build. And number 1 is a service business. Number 2 is a product business. Number 3 is a new concept which I refer to as a content creation business. So for the service business, which is the one that you have to go and actually get a skill for. Sometimes it's what we pay a lot of money as students to learn, and when you graduate, like for me, I am a physiotherapist, and the service I tend to render to people is helping them recover naturally, ease their back pain, and help them live an active and a pain-free life, and I get paid for it. So that's basically the first business that comes when you as a professional intend to start serving the public with your service-based business. So the second business is the product business. Now, growing up, I had always wanted to be a trader.
I'm a trader, so
because when you are close to people who are into a particular business or sector, you tend to want to do it. So working with my uncle gave me that idea of I will be a trader at the end of the day. Because if I'm a trader that went to school, then obviously I had the advantage because there were a lot of people who were into the trading business who were grossly uneducated. Now, with a product business, you need a lot of money to be able to get started because when you come out and you open your own business, you probably could have lots of competitors who already are engaged in the business. Now you need to be able to have enough financial stability to be able to acquire the right asset and the right product so that your customers can keep up with you. And the third business, which is the content creation business. The content creation business just involves you putting out interesting content that people can relate to, then directing them ultimately to a website or a page that you have to get them to patronize you. I know a particular lady, a friend of mine, who does drop shipping, and what she does is she just uses her phone to create content and teaches people how to do a thing then put a link in the description to direct them to that particular page where she has an affiliate relationship with the suppliers, and they tend to get their product delivered. So what does she actually do? She just gets her phone, records herself talking, give people what is valuable, and gets paid for it. Now she makes a lot of money. The advantage with a content business now is it is what drives the service business and also what drives the product business. So imagine if as early as possible I had gotten myself into building a content creation business, I probably would have been an influencer, and influencers have paid a lot of money, and probably I would have made my first million even before I am 30. Lesson number 4. I was pretty bad at English while in school. Not in speaking though, but in English scores. So I will always have my English score the lowest. I could probably score the highest mark in almost all the subjects, but I would get a very low and ridiculous score in English. So I complained to my dad, and he told me that one thing that I needed to do to improve my English was to read books. I was adamant, and I was not really interested in wanting to read. Reasons being that I had a lot of books that I needed to read, and spending time reading English for English didn't make sense. So he wanted me to read novels, he wanted me to read newspapers, he wanted me to read all those things so that I could improve on my vocabulary. But I didn't quite take it seriously. But then I got into building my business, and now I had to get saddled with the responsibility of doing so many things from the scratch. And one mistake I made was trying to reinvent the wheel. And one thing that really got me stuck was business was not just my professional skills that I had to provide for people, but to be able to manage my customers, to be able to do marketing, to be able to even create valuable information that people need, and sales and hiring people. So I needed to actually be able to imitate and look at what other people have done. And one place that has really come in handy for me was reading books. So now I appreciate all the advice that my father had been giving me while I was even in secondary school. Because if you read, it tends to reduce your learning curve, and you're able to understand what those people that have built those businesses that you love to build have done. There's really no point reinventing the wheel. All you need to do is just look at those people that you want to build business to look like, then read their books, do their online courses, watch a lot of YouTube videos, consume a lot of content that can actually direct you in the path that you want to grow. And when you have all this information at your beck and call, it becomes a lot easy for you to build your business and actually make your first million before you are 30. Lesson number 5. Lesson number 5 is networking, mentorship, and coaching. Imagine wanting to play a golf, and all you decide to do is to read all the books in the world about playing golf, or you watch all the videos about playing golf, or you even pray that one day you will become like Tiger Woods without actually doing anything. Now compare it with when someone gets a coach who trains him or her, takes him through the path, through the suffering, through the challenges until the person achieves success. Who do you think will be a better golfer? Obviously, the person who had a coach. Notwithstanding if the person actually read about golfing or not. But the most important part is, do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? Are you networking with the right people? And when you have a coach or a mentor, now the learning curve is reduced, because you now have people who will take you through the different mistakes they have made, and they will give you insights into how you can build your career and your business so that you avoid the mistakes that they all made. And building a business and having a community actually prompts you and helps you have an accountability partner, whereby anytime you are making a mistake, you can easily ring somebody who you consider as your mentor or as your coach to be able to come to your aid so that you don't make mistakes. So imagine having a mentor early on. A lot of people will actually be able to build businesses that will make them millions even before they turn 30. I know someone in the course of this my entrepreneurship and business pursuit who pays $100,000 just to make 4 calls with a coach. Imagine investing that kind of money. Now check the return of investment. He invests $100,000 to make 4 calls and he makes $10 million at the end of the year. Check the ROI. It is a business that I will ultimately want to do all the time. So here, friends, these are the 5 lessons that I will go over again if I would like to make my first million before 30. And number 1 is you have to set clear goals. You need to have your goals early on, whether you are actually going to be starting an income generating business early or not. And number 2 is you have good and sound financial education. Financial education will guide you through how you can make proper investments, how you can make proper financial decisions, and different strategies that can catapult you into building your wealth even after you have made a few $1,000s or naira in your business. And the third thing is take action. You cannot win if you do not try something. And obviously, if you don't start, it definitely doesn't get done. And number 4, continuous learning. You need to continuously learn, improve your skills, because building a business involves dedication. It's a resilient process and it actually takes time. And for you to come out successful, you need to continually improve yourself so that your substance and whatever it is that you are giving will be what people will actually need. And number 5 is mentorship and networking. You need a coach, you need somebody who will give you the best insights on how you can go about building whatever it is you need to build and guide you on how you can make your first million before you turn 30. And most importantly, don't quit. Winners never quit and quitters never win. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you also want to learn the 5 core principles on how to start a business, you can watch this video here. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now stop watching and go and start building something. Thank you for your time.